Buffalo Meatball Brother George, how are you today?
Good. Hello, Brother John. How you doing? Buffalo Bill football is back. Week 1 coming up this week. Monday Night Football. New York Jets Stadium, whatever the stadium name is. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know what they call it anymore. Yeah. Yes, football is back. I know we watched some college games this past weekend. We are ready for NFL football. Now, this is Wednesday. The season starts tomorrow. We get to watch Kansas City and the Detroit Lions. That'll be exciting. But as we have mentioned before, we kind of favor the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that game, all the other games are just going to be what we do while we're waiting for Buffalo Bill football to start.
That's right. So with the Bills' first game is against the New York Jets. Now, you and I have taken some time to review the 2 games from last year.
Yes.
And so this is sort of a presentation. What do you think of this game? How do you think this game is going to go?
Well, you know, I'd first like to say we've had a lot of people already out there talking about the 53-man roster, what it's going to be, what it's going to mean. There's been a lot of people out there saying how many games will the Bills win, the Jets win, every other team, who's going to win the Super Bowl. And quite frankly, who the heck knows? It wasn't until today we found out who even all the starters were on the Buffalo Bills for game 1.
Yes, that's true. And I was a little surprised myself, I must say.
So now that I've seen them in practice, I've seen them in the preseason, and I see who the starters are, I think game 1 is going to be a rock'em sock'em kind of low-scoring game. I think the defenses, you're going to see defense 1 and defense 1A out there. I think they both got good defenses. Both teams have mediocre offensive lines. So it's going to be a battle of the defensive lines on who's going to get to the other guy's quarterback. And is Aaron Rodgers being the new quarterback in New York going to be the difference for them? Is that going to make them be the winner over the Bills? Or, is Josh Allen going to come through for this team? So in my humble opinion, week 1 on the road, Buffalo is a 2.5-point favorite. And I think they cover.
Okay. Yeah, 2.5-point favorite. So you got to win the game.
I got them winning the game. I got them covering the point spread. I'm not saying by a lot. I mean, it could be 24-20. It could be 21-17. We'll see. But after watching both games last year, we noticed on the Buffalo Bills, a lot of the players that were in those games are gone. On both teams.
Oh, okay.
So using that last year as a guide is really nothing more than a guide. The coaching staffs are the same. On the Bills side, you got Josh Allen, you got Diggs, you got Davis, you got Cooks. So you got a lot of the
different
same
faces.
Guys.
Yep.
And on the Jets side, you got Aaron Rodgers and a couple of receivers that came in for him. So we're going to see some different looks for them. They even picked up Delvin Cook.
Yeah.
So we're going to see some differences with Delvin Cook being in there. But in my opinion, I still think the Bills cover in week 1.
All right. Point spread, 46.5. Are you under or over?
I'm under.
Yeah. I think the under is the bet this week. I agree. All right. A lot of changes in personnel from certainly the last time they played, but really the last 2 times they played. Both teams have made changes to their offensive line. Do you have a prediction or an expectation? What do you think we're going to see from a Bills offense? Are we going to be pocket passing and throwing deep, or what are we going to do this week?
All right, so Buffalo Bills, I still think Josh Allen wants to go deep, and Stephon Diggs wants to get the ball. But I think you're going to see more of a short passing game. I know I've said this before. But I still think when we rewatch that game, and if you use that at all as a guide, when the Bills were successful, which was the second game, Josh Allen was getting the ball out quickly, helping to cut down on that pass rush. He was throwing short passes. The guys were picking up 4 or 5 yards on first down, making second and third down manageable, and the Bills were able to move the ball. But when Josh Allen would go back and decide he wanted to throw 20, 25, 30 yards downfield, the Jets had receivers well covered, and he didn't have a lot of time to wait for those receivers to get that extra step or get open. Josh Allen was under pressure, and I think you'll see that again. If they play for a long pass, I think you're going to see Josh Allen get pressure and see him scramble. And when he scrambles, it's not always the best things happen. He had a guy, what did he have, 17 interceptions last year and 16 fumbles. So let's keep him calm and let's get the ball out of his hands. We do have other playmakers. Let's use them.
All right. I think I would just notate, we hope the Bills have other playmakers. Like right now, what we know they have is Diggs. And we're hoping that the wide receiver room comes through. We're hoping the tight end room comes through. We're hoping Cook and Murray and Harris are a good backfield.
Yeah, let's talk about that offensive side of the ball with the Bills.
Okay.
All right, you've got
a new rookie on the offensive line. He's the right guard, Osiris Torrance.
Right.
Highly praised coming out of college. So far in the preseason, he's done a pretty darn good
rookie
job.
out of
Sure.
job,
And
that's got to help on that right side
with all
the pressure that Spencer Brown has gotten in the past. I think it's going to solidify the. I think it's going to make the right side more stable. Let's not say solidify, because I think Spencer Brown is still a problem, but it's going to make it more stable. And if Osiris Torrance can help keep that pass rush from coming up the middle, that will give Josh Allen some additional time to stay in the pocket. Even if it's a half a second, will make a big deal. And then in the backfield, Cook's the main man now. James Cook is the main running back, but you've got Damian Harris, who's a power plug right there. He's small, but he's a scrambler. He's a tough player.
Okay.
And you got Latavius Murray, a much bigger bulldozer type of back that can get that, not only just get that first down, he can get you 3, 4, 5 yards a run.
Well, we hope.
And then on the passing side, Isaiah McKenzie is gone.
Sayonara.
All those drop passes, all that running around he did, a whole heck of a lot of nothing came from him. And I wish him the best, but you've got other options. You've got Deontay Hardy,
Right?
another small guy, quick guy, seems to have better hands. You've got certainly Diggs. You got Davis, who they made a captain now.
Right?
And you've got Sherfield, the guy they picked up from Miami. But maybe most importantly, they picked up maybe the best tight end in college football with Dalton Kincaid.
Okay.
All these options give Josh Allen many more weapons than he had last year, or many more usable weapons. That's in my opinion.
Okay.
I think overall that makes our offense better if he's got the time to throw the ball. And a lot of that comes down to what is Dorsey going to be calling for plays. So let's hope he's smart.
The only thing I will throw out there is going in now, the same front office that chose which wide receivers they were going to invite to camp last year made the same decisions this year.
Mm-hmm.
McKenzie made the team. Jameson Crowder, they were going to play a significant role in the offense last year.
Yes.
Not only did they not, now Crowder did get hurt, but going into this year, neither of them could even make a team.
But didn't you also expect a lot more out of Dawson Knox last year?
Which is where I was going next. Yeah, he signed a contract. They signed him up. They didn't re-sign Edmonds, and at that time they hadn't re-signed or extended Olive. So it was a surprise when Dawson Knox gets this contract. They paid him, and then in his first year, they really showed that they like him to block.
Yeah, and it's like they kept him. He did well a couple of years ago. They got a nice contract, and then it's like they forgot about him, or he just wasn't getting open. I can't tell you which. Was it the play calling? Was it him? Did they just not utilize him? Was Josh Allen always going off the script, trying to get deep to Diggs?
Yeah, well, in rewatching the games, it does look like Knox played a fairly significant role in pass protection because they knew they were lining him up in the H-back spot, and then he was staying in to help. And they knew they had trouble. They knew that they were shorthanded there, and I don't know that that's the only reason, but certainly that is something.
John, I think you're still going to see it this year.
Well,
I think the offensive line is a little bit better than last year, but I'm not comfortable yet that they're a lot better than last year. I think it's maybe we got rid of some guys that were truly problems, and we brought in some guys that are expecting to perform a little better.
Look, I'm looking at the wide receiver room. Hardy is a journeyman. We hope that because he has speed, they'll be able to find ways to utilize him. Sherfield?
Yeah.
This is 13. He's another journeyman. If Allen has time, he may be able to utilize these weapons as weapons. If not, their career here is going to be short because they're not going to get much. They're not going to be a big part of the offense. All right. That's the offense. Do you want to talk defense?
Yeah, let's talk defense.
Okay.
Okay, well, you've got two guys that are starting, that were named starters today.
Oh, yes.
You've got Osiris Torrance on the offense. We mentioned him, but you also have Terrell Bernard as starting middle linebacker, a guy that didn't play most of the preseason in practice.
Yeah, apparently had an injury.
And so that's who they thought was the best to go with out of everybody they had, even though they drafted a guy, Dorian Williams, who seemed to be doing okay, but they decided to go with Terrell Bernard. I think that Terrell Bernard has a phenomenal feel for the game. He seems like a smart player to me, John.
Good.
And but whether he's healthy, I don't know. So we're gonna have to hope. We'll find out on Monday night. And then the other starter at the second cornerback position, of course, is not Kyer Elam, but it's Bedford.
Christian Bedford, yeah.
And so Kyer Elam, who didn't start last year, but he was drafted as a first-round pick last year for the Bills. And this year he's had a lot of problems in camp, with holding, with fighting with others. He's making Diggs upset, not by the good coverage, but maybe by bad coverage. And he seemed to have lost his job, at least right now, to Bedford, but that may not be a bad thing. Bedford seemed to be, like I say, it just appears to me, he seems to be a smart football player. And that also knocks out Dane Jackson, who everybody was predicting to be the number 2 cornerback this year. He's been on the Bills for a number of years now, and have seemed to have a lot of confidence in him, but they didn't. They went with Bedford. So let's see.
Yeah, I think if the defensive backfield could stay healthy this year, we might see Elam become trade bait before the trade deadline. That could be very interesting.
Yeah, like we traded away Boogie Basham. We picked him in what, the second or third round, and we what do we get for him? A 6th-round pick, trading for a 7th-round pick.
Yeah, that would be
That is just
effectively
horrendous.
they just got it. They got him off the roster.
They got him off the roster. All right, so also you still have Von Miller out, but so far in preseason, the Bills' defensive line has looked pretty good, in my opinion, except for Tim Settle.
I question his ability. I don't think he's got it, but he's still on the team.
But we brought in Buda Ford, who's been just a massive run stuffer in the middle of that line during the preseason.
Yeah, we've seen that preseason.
That's a big difference for us, trying to stuff that middle of that line. And you've got Jordan Phillips back. You've got Shaq Lawson back. You've got Groot, Greg Rousseau, and you've got Epinesa. And they seem to be able to put, certainly Oliver, they've been able to put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks so far. So I think our line, to be honest with you, is better than last year. Again, I'm not saying it's way better, but I say I think that it's better. We've heard, and a lot of other people talking, other experts are talking about how the Bills have raised the floor in different positions.
Yeah.
You want to explain what that means?
Yeah. They feel that there's been incremental improvement in the backups. So Quisenberry is offensive line. Quisenberry is out. He's been replaced. Osiris Torrance is out. That pushes Bates. He's starting. That pushes Bates into a backup role. So the backups, the guys you hope never play, may be better than last year. It's nothing to celebrate. It's absolutely insignificant.
Well, that's what the big push, though, is that they've raised the floor, and that your worst player is better than your worst players are better than your worst players last year.
Well, that was a 13-3 team. So that great, it's fine.
It's not a bad thing.
It ain't bad, right?
It's not a bad thing. It's just it's not like
last year
I can hang our hat on it and say, well, that puts us in the Super Bowl.
Last year we did have a number of games lost due to injury. Right? Spencer Brown, Morris missed out a game or so, and then of course the safeties, Hamlin and Micah Hyde. White missed a bunch of time. He started off the season on IR. So we did lose a bunch of time last year for injury. If that happens again, offensive line might be in slightly better shape. But
another guy gone is safety Jaquan Jones.
Yep.
And he really wasn't. He played hard, but he just didn't appear to have what it takes. And now they brought in the Rams ex safety Rap. Again, that's an improvement. Improvement on the floor.
They're hoping the backups are better.
That's an improvement on the floor. And Hyde is back. Well, we heard Hyde today. Maybe he didn't practice. There's an injury. Maybe what's going on now with him.
Day to day now.
Day to day. But then we heard after McDermott said he wasn't going to practice, then he was spotted out there on the field practicing. So we really don't know. That's what makes it so hard. If we decide to pick where the Bills are going to finish, we don't know. Who knows? But if I'm pushed to guess, I think the Bills are winning the division again.
Yeah, like they traded away Boogie Basham probably because he wasn't going to make the 53, 55 roster. So he got about 20% of the snaps last year.
Yeah.
That means that presumably the fellow that replaced him on the roster, who is going to play 20% of the time, will be incrementally better. I don't know that there's much significance to that. What they need is for guys that they're counting on. They need Rousseau to pick it up. They need Epineza to play like the player that they thought he would be. They have Poon Ford. I think he's with the second line. He'll be rotated in and out. They need him to play like he did not last year for Seattle, but 2 years ago.
They have a guy. The Bills have Daquan Jones, he's
a veteran
on the line.
They brought him in. He's a veteran. He chews up snaps.
I always confuse his name if I said it wrong already. The guy that's gone is a Daquan. That was a safety, but the Daquan or Daquan, who is still here, is a tackle. And he played well for the Bills last year. And now, when you look at the starters, you've got a different starting linebacker in defense, and you've got the addition of Poon Ford, and you have an upgrade at safety with Rapp. And that's basically what's changed on defense, don't you think? Is there anything else you can think of?
Well, the single biggest thing is there's no Tremaine Edmonds. Mm-hmm. So they're going to start the game. Well, they're starting the season, but I'm going to say they're inexperienced. One's a second-year player, and the other one is a fourth or five-year player, but he's been a special teams player and a backup middle linebacker. So that's what they're going. They did get, who did they get and put him on the Kelsey? That they put on the practice squad. Linebacker that they put him in.
Oh, yeah. Kirksley.
We'll see.
Another increase in the basement.
Well, in this situation, you don't know if they might need the backup to come in and give them serious minutes, because we really don't know if Dotson or Bernard could do the job. They don't, and I don't think they know either. They really don't.
Yeah, and you've got Balin Spector, who was drafted a year ago, but he's hurt.
Look, I know you like the guy,
but he didn't seem to be like in the talk.
He's not really. He was never in the mix.
Right, he's never been in the mix. I like him, but you're right.
He's a guy who will aspire to be a special teamer. Special teamer. That's like his ceiling.
Yeah.
So,
all right, on defense, John. Yeah. Do you expect with Leslie Frazier gone that the defense changes to become more aggressive?
You know, for 5 years, I was under the impression that McDermott and Frazier were like this.
Yeah.
That even though they came from two different, they didn't work with each other in the past. When they got together, they came up with this, or they were utilizing this 4-2 defense or nickel defense, and that they both liked it, and that, you know, Leslie Frazier was dependent on if all the signals. It wasn't. There were at times over the 5-year period that we got a sense that maybe McDermott wanted some more aggressiveness here and there. But it really seemed like they were in sync with each other until offseason, and they clearly were not anymore. So do I expect something different? I really do. I think that they've made a decision. Like, they have spent 2 draft picks trying to find a middle linebacker, and the body type they're looking for is very different from what you would have expected from a middle linebacker. It's smallish, undersized, 225 pounds. So what he's looking for to fill that role is different from the Tremaine Edmonds type. And it's different from the classic linebacker type. And I think it's different from what a lot of teams use. And they're not looking to platoon, it doesn't look like. So we might see a platoon, we may not. I don't know how this experiment is going to go.
Well, you know, Terrell Bernard is a guy in the mold of Milano. Let's not call him Milano, but he's in the mold of Milano. And he's a guy that can fly around. He's also a guy that can go back into coverage. He's not going to be a huge run stopper in the middle of the line. So I'm wondering, John, do you expect to maybe see more linebacker blitzes, even run blitzes? Get this guy in the backfield, him or Milano, trying to disrupt things, even if it's a run play?
Well, we're going to find out something pretty interesting. In his years with Buffalo, Tremaine Edmonds almost never blitzed.
That's right.
They almost never brought him.
That's right.
So we don't know if that was an issue of his skill set or if it was a philosophical. We don't. That's not what we choose to. That's not what we choose to blitz. We don't want to blitz our middle linebacker. I don't know. Nobody knows. And unfortunately, in a way, it's unfortunate Frazier's gone, so we really won't find out. If Frazier were here and they started blitzing Bernard, then we would know it was Edmonds.
You know, the best we could do is go back a number of seasons and trying to watch the Carolina Panthers when McDermott was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that. I mean,
Well,
we
we're not
don't
gonna
have
do
the
that.
same players or even the same philosophy on offense.
There's no player on the Bills' defense, with the possible exception of Von Miller, that's anywhere as good as Luke Kuechly was for Carolina. So it's you're looking at totally different system. It may be a similar system, but it's total different skill sets.
And we've been hearing all week people talking about this game because they're really praising the Jets. The Jets are getting a lot of love. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. They went out, they made changes to their team, they got Aaron Rodgers, they got high expectations, so that's fine. But I heard people talking about how the Buffalo Bills will have in that linebacker slash safety or corner slot type of area, they're going to be undersized guys with Milano
Oh, yeah.
and Teron Johnson and Terrell Bernard.
Yeah.
And so if maybe the Packers aren't going to throw the ball, maybe they're going to run 30, 40 times and take advantage of those small people. Well, if I'm the Bills and that's the people that I have, I'm not going to leave them standing there still like stones to get run over by boulders. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I see them being active and trying to shoot gaps, trying to disrupt the backfield. Guys coming in and out, confusing Rodgers on who's going to be where, making Milano look like he's going to blitz, then backing him off and maybe shooting Teron Johnson up there. You know, I think we're going to see a lot of activity, a lot of aggression. I don't think you're just going to see that second line of defense just standing there waiting for Delvin Cook to come at him. I just don't believe it.
Well, and that could be part of, like, I hear you. I think Daniel Velocity from ESPN mentioned
He's a good guy, but that's his opinion.
Well, the Bills, McDermott's vision with these smaller size guys who are maybe quicker is different. I mean, it's even new for the Bills.
Yes.
Tremaine Edmonds not here now. That's even new for the Bills.
It's
So
really
that's-
newer in football.
Now, the only thing that I will throw at you that kind of occurred to me as you were talking is, if you're gonna on run plays, the Bills play a one gap, so everybody has their responsibility. Everybody has a gap responsibility between two offensive players. If you're going to try to shoot those in order, like essentially almost like a run blitz, where you're going to try.
Right.
Well, the backside of that is, if they can get an opening, that running back, there's nobody at the second level. Now you're talking about the safeties that are going to make tackles. Now they're good tacklers, but that also could mean 9 to 15 yards downfield. And if it's a Dalvin Cook or is it Breece Hall, that could be end zone. When I saw the last time, it was 2 years ago, I saw the Bills in person, and the one thing that stuck out to me on the defense was Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are slow. I assume that they were faster when they were younger, and they are slow. They have lost a step. They are slow.
I agree with you. They're getting up there in age.
The number of times that I've heard Sal Capaccio say, this Poyer took a bad angle. Micah Hyde took a bad angle, and that allowed the runner to get downfield farther. I believe it ain't bad. There was no good angle. They just didn't have the speed to get to, and that's with trying to come off. So we'll see. The advantage to Hyde and Poyer is their heads. They're very smart. They work really well together. They work really well with Trey White. There's a lot of things that McDermott has done with them, well, maybe Leslie Frazier has done with them to confuse offenses. And that's their strength. That's what they're counting on. And they're good tacklers. They're willing tacklers, of course, with safeties, and they're good tacklers. Poyer in particular. But, boy, they are a safety, and if you need them in the box, that's fine. But if you're running blitzing, you can give up a late draw. If the offensive lineman can get on Bernard, offensive lineman can get on freaking Darren Johnson, so they can't get out from under that. They're just eating up. So we'll see. This is McDermott's vision. And they specifically, 2 drafts in a row, they went out and tried to get somebody with a small body type to ultimately replace Tremaine Edmonds, become the new middle linebacker.
Yeah, and the new kid they picked up, Dorian Williams, he's not a big guy.
No, he is not.
And it seems to me like they're going to be rotating in linebackers.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I just, in my opinion, I'm like, if you think they're going to run on you and they're going to overpower you, rather than just stand there and take it, you may as well try and disrupt them somehow.
So
that's what I was saying.
I know you and I will be watching, if the Jets are having success on the ground, you and I will be watching, do the Bills make changes in their defensive tackles? What tackles are they using? Do we see Puna getting in there? Is Oliver still out? What defensive tackles are they using? Do they pull Epineza and replace him with Lawson? Epineza's small.
Well, you could have big guys with Puniform and Daquan
Jones
or Johnson.
And then there's a Phillips.
You got Jordan Phillips. You got some big guys you can plug in there. You could put Shaq Lawson on there, who's pretty good against the run.
He's an end.
Yeah, right. I mean, you could change that front line and be more of a run.
That's something that you and I will be looking for as we see what happens. I think the expectation is Aaron Rodgers is going to want to throw the ball, but he's been around a long 14 years. Some of his best work has been with great running attacks.
That's correct.
So if he sees a problem there, he's going to expect his coaches to call running plays. He's going to audible into it. He'll change running plays to the line of scrimmage in order to give his team the best shot. So, and whatever the Bills put on tape, if they have difficulty stopping the run, they're going to get a big dose of it against the Raiders and against Washington. And then we'll see what Miami wants to do. But we're going to find out in the first 3 games if they are vulnerable to the run.
Yeah, last year, both games the Jets played on the offensive side for the Bills. 1 year they scored, first game they scored 17 points, lost 20-17. The second game they scored 20 points, won 20-12.
Yeah.
So neither team scored over 20 points.
Right.
In either game. And the team that scored 20 won the game. So
both times. Yeah.
Both times. So you got to say the addition of Aaron Rodgers should be a major plus for the Jets.
Right.
That's got that kid Garrett Wilson, and now they've supposedly, we'll see if they're healthy, improved their running back situation.
Right.
So the Jets really have some playmakers on the team now. You got a great wide receiver, 2 really good running backs. and a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't think there's any doubt he's going to the Hall of Fame, Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So you've really got some playmakers on that team, and I can see how the media will fall in love with the Jets, and it's time to give them their due, their love. They haven't done anything yet, but they're getting the love, okay?
Didn't we hear somebody compare the Jet defense to the 85 Bears?
Yes,
Compare
one of the Jets players said it.
Okay, one of the players. All right,
He's
so
comparing himself to the 80, that they're going to be compared to the 85 Bears. That's a big statement.
it is. You know, the defense they play, and watching them when they played the Bills here, to me, it looked a little bit more similar to the 2003 Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Bucs made that Tampa 2 famous, but the Jets play a lot of coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, and like the Bills, they will play with 5 defensive backs quite a bit.
And they're aggressive with them.
They are, well, their front 4 are better than our front 4.
I would agree with you there.
And they were chewing in one game. They just chewed up the Bills' offensive line.
Yeah,
and it really looked like they were aggressive. They weren't blitzing. They just were beating.
Yeah, they were so quickly pressuring Josh Allen that the defensive backs looked like they were very sticky, but they didn't have to cover very long.
But yeah.
But the Bills in both of those games under Frazier looked like they weren't sticky, not because of our defensive line, but because that's how they played. They played off.
Yeah.
And we'll see if that changes now under McDermott.
Yeah, we could be more aggressive without blitzing. Like they could be more aggressive by putting their defensive backs not in zone coverage as often, but in man-up coverage. They could be more aggressive that way. Like over the course of the game, they play more man and set a different tone. We'll see what he does. Like that's all those statistics will start coming out when the game's end.
And even though I say yes, there have been good additions to the Jets, and they've got some playmakers on there. That's elevated their team, but their game wasn't that good last year.
Yeah, they only have 5 wins. Yeah,
and they haven't played together. But the Bills are a good team, and they've increased the bottom.
the floor.
The floor.
They're better. The floor is better. Yeah.
But when you look at players that were playing in those games last year, they were the floor.
Yeah, we had a lot of injuries last year.
So this is going to be an interesting game, and that's why I'm saying it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a tough
dogfight.
A tough defensive dogfight and a struggle, and I think the Bills have enough to outlast the Jets, even though it's in New York or New Jersey, whatever you want to call it. That's my pick.
The old Meadowlands.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I picked the Bills as well. I'm also picking the under, although at 46.5, it could be right there. 24-20, it could be right in that range. But I would say under until I could see what the Jet offense really looks
Well,
like.
I think to get over, you're going to have to score at least 27 points. And I hope that
The Bills do it, but we haven't seen either team do that against each other.
Yeah,
So
fair enough. All right, George.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the game.
Go Bills!
Like, subscribe,
comment, subscribe.
Right. Thank you all. Talk to you later.
Bye.